designer-coded confidence. And I just want to let you know what has just happened in the icebreaker. Is that a good icebreaker? Or does everyone feel kind of a little bit different to when they first walked in? So what you've just witnessed is three people. Anna Maria. Anna Maria has been a client of mine for a number of years, and she fell in love so much with neuro-linguistic programming and the way that it actually changed her life and transformed her, that she's decided to become a coach. So today she didn't even know that she was going to stand up in front of you. So give her a big hand, everyone. Takes a lot of, would you agree that it would take a lot of stamina to actually get up in front of a crowd and just say something that you hadn't even prepared? So that's the kind of thing I love, to give everybody the opportunity to step into their power, to step into their confidence. And Nicola is a counsellor, and she has actually gone through NLP with me also. And the EFT that that Nicola showed you, that is one of my favourite modalities in the morning. And I'll tell you why. And that is because I know that if every single day we can get rid of our stuff. Can you imagine being able to clear your junk first thing in the morning so that you can start your day strong? Because really the way you start your day is the way that your day kind of rolls from there. So as a personal development lifestyle coach, one of the things that I do first thing in the morning is I start to do my EFT. Only I will walk and I will do it. Okay, so I will walk, I will move my body, and I will get into that kind of in that strategy where I'm moving. Because what happens is a couple of things that's happening. I'm actually able to firstly express anything that's on my mind. So if there's things that I'm not happy about, I can express those things. If I say, well, even though I'm not feeling the brightest and the happiest today, and even though I'm not feeling as good as I'd like to feel, I truly, deeply love and value myself. Because what is the truth, you guys, is that anything you feel and anything you've been doing in your life is not you. It is a part of you. You are a soul and a being, and you are a human being. You are an 80% human being, and really 20% is the doing. And what you will find is that the more self-awareness that you have, the more you know about the way you tick, and the more you become aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, the more empowered your life will be. So if you've ever felt the grind and the hustle or the pushing uphill, and if you know what I'm talking about, raise your hand if you know what I mean when I say really pushing and feeling like you're grinding against life. So really these are just messages from your body, from your physical being, to tell you something's got to change. It is not a curse, it is not a bad thing. It's really a message to say, this is your GPS speaking. So as you saw Nicola and then Kay's a farmer. So Kay's been going through this, and what Kay's recognised is right in the depth of who she is. She likes to come back to nature. She likes to come back to that groundedness. Now, as I'm teaching people to go through this program, what I'm really doing is I'm teaching them to master their mind. I'm teaching them how to master their life. And so what we're going to do today, just like the event says, is we're going to teach you how to step inside the power of your confidence. But I'm also going to give you a demonstration today of what it looks like in the life of what I do, where I move people forward very, very quickly. And I'm going to do this through what we call speed coaching. So there's three elements to the work that I do. Number one, the first element is, of course, my specialty, which is the rapid trauma stress release. Now, trauma and stress. Would you agree that people have suffered trauma and stress? Would you agree that you've ever felt stressed? Would you agree that even a child could feel traumatised if a situation came up, they lost their parent, or they had that fleeting moment in the shopping centre where they were left alone? That is considered as trauma. So really, trauma and stress does exist in most people. Now the fact is, if I started to show you a symbol of everything that's happened to me before in my life, and you pictured that you had to actually bring forward all the things that you've had to deal with, what would happen is, if you have not been able to empty and clear yourself, and EFT is obviously a fabulous way of doing that, what happens is it builds up and builds up and builds up until what happens is you can barely feel like you can move forward because you're dealing with all the stuff that comes from your past. Does that make sense? Like, how do you know you're you? If I asked you the question, how do you actually know you're you? Any ideas, guys? Anybody like to hazard a guess? How do you know you're you?
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror, there's one. Anybody else?
Look at what you like to do.
Know what you like to do? Yeah?
When you're feeling safe and confident and you're not questioning yourself. When I'm not questioning or trying to get out of my mind. That's when I'm comfortable just being me.
Cool. Okay. So we've got mirror, what you like doing, when you're in your best you. Any other ideas, guys? How do you know you're you?
Pinch yourself. Pinch yourself.
Yeah, pinch yourself. Okay, it's me. Yeah, it's you. Okay, so you know you're you because of your memories. Now, if your worst enemy, I'm not saying that you've got any, but I'm sure there's people maybe that you don't feel comfortable with. Would it be safe to say there'd be one person at least that you know that if they walked in the room right now, you'd feel uncomfortable? Okay, so this is how it is, right? If you've got a person who you've had a situation with, you've had a bad relationship with, you've endured some pain, what happens is they walk in the room, what happens? You get a feeling. And that feeling comes from a thought, a memory. Who said that? Fantastic. So the memory is producing the feeling, and then you're understanding the thought and the memory and the feeling, and then guess what happens? It turns into an action. So your actions and your behaviours actually come from your feelings, which come from your thoughts. But what if I told you that it's a new day today? What if I told you today is the first day for the rest of your life? And everything behind you doesn't need to govern where you're going. You don't need to live into the patterns from the old world, from the old way, from the old methodology that you've been doing all your life. And this is what neuro-linguistic programming is all about. Because, if you've had a relationship in your past that's upset you, that's let you down, that hasn't gone well, I've got bad news. Unless you actually do something about it, guess what? The next relationship you move into, before you know it, you'll be doing the same thing. And how do I know this to be true? Because it happens to everyone, and because it is called a pattern of behaviour. And just by the way, you guys, wherever you go, you take yourself with you. Now the fact is that you don't need to be operating with this person, because you may have a brand new friend or a brand new partner or a brand new relationship or a brand new boss or a brand new neighbour or whatever that brand new element for you is. And then suddenly they say something that causes you to... Have you ever had a moment where you reacted and then you thought afterwards, I wish I hadn't have done that. I could have done that a little bit better. And when you think about it, have you ever had a feeling that you did actually overreact, or you may have got a little bit more upset than, you know, what was necessary. You didn't overreact. You didn't. It was very real for you guys. It was very, very true to your soul. But what it is I was telling the coaches before as I was going through the training, is that your superconscious mind is like this entire room. If you look around in this entire room, it's a spacious big room, right? Your logic, your conscious, which is the part that sieves out all the information, as opposed to the size of this room, is that big. That's your logic. This room is your superconscious. Now, here is the very important element. When you don't know how to operate your subconscious mind, it might be okay when you're a little child if you've got beautiful parents who love you and adore you and treat you like gold. But let me promise you something. If you do not know how to master your own mind, if you do not know how to take your subconscious mind and operate it, it is no different, and I was telling the coaches this today, than you putting a child into the driver's seat of a car and telling that child to drive. It has no idea. And it's just going to keep bashing into things. It's going to keep hitting that same wall. And so really what's happening is if you are having a pattern going on in your life where you go, oh, it's happening again. Oh, I've attracted another person like that into my life. Oh, I've got this whole set. And it's like a deja vu, if you know what I'm saying, right? And all the reactions and all of these things. Let me tell you, it is your superconscious going, watch out, here it comes again. And you are coming through your representations of your brain, which is your visual, audible, kinesthetic stimuli, that goes into that vortex that's like this room and pulls out this dirty big memory that's got nothing whatsoever to do with today. It's not even got anything to do with the person that's with you. It could be somebody ripped you off from the past. But see, something about the person that was there brought that memory up. So you suddenly reacted out of that. You reacted out of that pain. Does anybody here, do you kind of understand what I'm saying here? So, you know, a lot of people these days, they go to the doctor and they say, oh, you know, I'm not feeling very well, I'm unmotivated, I'm tired, I'm run down, and, you know, I'm feeling depressed. So what does the doctor do? Writes them out a script, gives them medication. You've got depression. Ever heard that word before, by the way, guys? Look, it obviously came from a very talented person who suffered the actual symptom. And then this is the label that people are given. What you don't understand though is that people are not depressed. They just know how to do it. And some people know how to do it really freaking well. And the difference between learning how to change that so that you can master your own mind compared to just letting this child drive around without a license and just bump into, you know, the first thing. It's like you're a puppet on the street. It's like you're not in control of what's happening. It's because you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And this is what happened to me. So I came from I suppose a generation and a time when I grew up and I had a good family and everything was great. I felt like a square peg in a round hole. And, you know, in my teenage years, I felt a little troubled because really I felt like I was different to other people. I knew there was a gift inside of me, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to activate it. So as I went through school, I got to the age of 18 and my mother told me with all beautiful suggestions, because she was coming from a very, very high place, Terry, you need to go to business college, you need to do this, you need to do that. So I went through what my parents told me to do, and as a result, I went into the typical administration jobs that come out of that kind of resource. As a result, I got fired 8 times. One time after the other, after the other, after the other. Not so good on the old self-esteem, you guys, I can tell you. So what's happened happening to me by number 8. By the time I've been fired 8 times, I've got this thing. I've got a message. I'm telling myself something, right? And I'm telling myself I'm not good enough. I'm telling myself I'll probably get fired again. I'm telling myself stories that are from my past. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? So then when I went into a position where I was offered something that is in my strength, in my power, where somebody who was in a very high position and could identify a gift they saw in me and said, you need to be doing this. Because that is just not going to work. So you need to be doing this. And at that point, guess what I said? I said no. I turned down a job at 18 years of age where I was offered $500 a week, offered a car, and I was offered all of these bells and whistles and a great job. And he believed in me. He really believed in me. But I said no. Why do you think I said no? I protected myself. I was telling myself a story from, where did it come from? The past. Okay? And so what we do, you guys, is we find that when we're going through life and we're hitting walls and we're not where we want to be, quite often we just put up with it, or we think this is just my cross to bear. But in actual fact, it's that you haven't found your gift. And every single person has got a special gift inside. And that gift will come from clues that you may have received when you were in childhood. So in childhood, I recognised that I loved to entertain. I recognised that I was good at certain things like, dancing, being with people, meeting with people, all those kinds of things I loved. And you'll also know that when you were watching movies and you were looking at television, there would have been people on the television that you looked up to. Perhaps you admired someone from a certain show, or you saw some superheroes. All these kinds of things are the people that you kind of look to that give you clues of really deeply what you wanted inside. Now, as an adult, when I found NLP, when I found neuro-linguistic programming, I had to hit the wall, and then my life changed, and I met Dr. Ian, who pointed me in the direction of neuro-linguistic programming, of which took me through modalities that changed my life like that. Now, from that point, I started immediately helping other people. I mean immediately. I went straight forward, head first. I did an Anthony Robbins. Anthony Robbins was actually helping people with NLP before he actually had a stamp on his certificate. He was down at the bar saying, who wants to cure a phobia? Because suddenly they discovered that you could cure a phobia within 15 minutes using a specific technique. Now, who was I helping? I was helping people like war vets. I was helping people that had trauma. I was helping people from all these types of walks of life. And of course, there's nothing quite like it when that happens, right? So here's the thing. What would it be like if you could remove the stress and trauma from your life, any stress and trauma, any relationship battles that you've suffered? If you could actually annihilate any of the bad habits that you've done, what if today could be a new day? What if today could be the first day for the rest of your life, and you could actually create the life of your dreams? Who would you be? What would you do? What would you need to actually release and let go of? So what I'm going to get you guys to do is I'm going to get you to know that there are 6 human needs, which we've gone through here. You'll see 7, but 7 is because we've added the lucky number 7. The 6 human needs is everybody needs to feel a sense of love and connection. Everybody. You need to have that feeling at some point. Everybody needs to actually feel important and know that you're an important creature, and when you start living according to that, you want to know yourself. Everybody needs to have a certain amount of certainty. That is the certainty of knowing where you live. Certain things that you need to know about yourself. You know, perhaps money, income, your family. Whatever it is, it may not be the same as the person sitting next to you, but everybody does need it. Of course, then you need uncertainty as well. Because can you imagine if you knew the next person that you were going to meet and they were going to, you know, who you were going to actually have this amazing friendship with? I mean, if you knew the next person was going to ring you, the next person who was going to knock on your door, you knew every gift and present you were going to get, life would be pretty boring, right? So you need uncertainty as well. And uncertainty comes under fun and variety. Now, Anthony Robbins says it like this: when you are in a place of contribution, when you are in a place where you have found your niche, where you have found your gift, where you have found yourself, you guys, that's when contribution, there is nothing quite like the feeling of contribution, when you can give of yourself, like what I'm doing right now. Of course, that promotes growth and expansion. Now, when a person is growing and expanding and improving, you are on fire, you are living. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's when you're really living, when you are learning and you are moving up. And you know what? It doesn't matter what's your age. There is one thing that you ought to never stop doing, and that is growing. Learning, growing, and expanding, because your soul will be on fire. Your soul will have so much passion from this. And then that brings me to saying, guys, when you know how to learn how to operate your mind in such a way that you'll be able to tap into your love and connection, you'll be able to tap into your own importance, you'll know yourself, and you'll feel this sense of certainty, you'll feel this sense of start living your life and having fun and having variety, and you can grow and expand. Let me tell you, that is what I call the master key.